All right, so I think the general layout is a lot better, than obviously what we started with. But I do think the typeface could be improved. Currently, it's just a generic serif font, which just means it has a little knucks on the letters and stuff, the little feet. So I would like to change that. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to basically just adjust the default typeface. So the best way to go about doing that is to actually put it inside the body, because everything's inside the body. So what you don't want to do is right now, I in no way have specified what the typeface should be. You never want to do that, because what ends up happening is that I might view it in Chrome, and it will the default typeface is whatever, and then I'll view it in Firefox and it's a completely different typeface. It might be a different size, and then what ends up happening is what my design was no longer works because things are text wrapping in a weird way and they're not scaled correctly, and it's visually confusing. So you always want to set basically your defaults for that. So what we're going to do, the best way to do that is to actually put it, when you're doing it inline, to put it right in the body, because that way everything's inside the body, right? Everything you visually see. So by putting it in the body, it will affect all the things inside of it. So inside the body, after we did the background color and the width, I'm just going to go ahead and specify the font family. Now you're going to see a whole bunch of these pop up. All right. And if you look, you see like this one's monospace. This one's a sans serif. This one's serif. So you'll see that they are somewhat, if you look at the last one, you'll get a general idea of the type of typeface that it is, right? What category it fits in, right? There's monospace serif, sans serif, decorative, slash fantasy. What else is there? Handwriting or cursive. So there's a couple different ones. Now I'm going to show you later on a way of like getting even more typefaces in there, but we'll just work with these. My suggestion is to just try them all and see which one you think looks good and kind of go from there. Generally speaking, I know I want to do a sans serif. So I'm just going to go with this one because I already looked at it earlier. So we're going to go Verdana. Okay, so that will look good. And then when I go back here, I'm going to hit Control R to refresh. You can see, and it also made it look a little bit bigger. Generally speaking, for printed body text, serif fonts are really good. It helps the user read. But in digital medium, normally sans serif is preferred. And the reason being is that it has less little extra bits that will, because everything has to be represented by pixels, right? So it has less extra little bits in order to be represented by pixels. So it's not going to be as muddy. It's cleaner. It has just the bare necessities. So if the text is smaller or it's larger, it should still be, visually easy to tell. Okay, so we went ahead and did that. I think that looks fine. But I do feel it made it a little bit larger. I don't know if you noticed that. I would like it not to be quite so large. It just feels a little big. Now, I could go through and on each one of these, again, specify, oh, I want this one to be that size, this one to be, but that's kind of annoying. So what we're going to do is this. Up here, after what we just did with the font family, we're going to do font size, okay? But I'm not going to type in like 36px, right? Because I don't want everything to be 36px, because otherwise it's going to make the sizes all weird, right? Because then you're going to have like P's that are really big and H's that aren't, and so on and so forth. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do it by EMs. So I'm going to do 0.85 EM. And the reason why I'm doing that is that it has a default size, and it's just going to take each one of them. So like the default size for the H2 might be, or an H, I do have H2. For the H2 might be 36 pixels. But if I do 0.85, that's going to make it 85% of that, right? And the default P might be 18 pixels. But if I do 0.85, it's going to be 85% of that, right? So it's going to scale everything down, but according to what they are. So that's why I'm going to use the EM, even though we're doing a pixel-based thing. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to specify all of them, and I just don't want to do that. So this will be a little bit easier by doing it that way. So we'll save it. We'll go back here. I'll hit Control R, and then voila, you can see it scaled it down to 85% of what it was. And it's still pretty clean. It looks just the way that we wanted it. So good. Let's go on to the next thing.